Hello and welcome to the 138th episode of the Gochuucast. And today, as we said last week, we are going to be looking at the Crunchyroll Anime Award categories, and we're going to be making our own nominations before we get mad at the judges for their nominations. So, which actually, I don't know when those come out.
The actual,
Isn't
I know
it
I guess
usually
it's
like
just when the voting comes out, which is
March?
April 3rd is when the voting
Yeah.
starts. So I don't remember if they release them before then, but I think it might just be when the voting
Yeah,
starts.
they do, but
Okay.
at least several weeks before that. It's just yeah, that's the only date I saw. I don't know when the actual nominations come out, but I assume it's just like a few weeks before that. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll be going through all the categories except for some of the voice ones, aka everything that isn't Japanese, basically.
yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do best voice
I didn't
acting
watch
in
any
Portuguese or whatever.
dubs, so I can't say anything about the English. Definitely can't say anything about. I think they added like Hindi this year.
Yep.
You know, shout out to the
They've always
Hindi
had a lot
Hindi
of
dubs.
them.
Yeah, they have a lot of them. But I couldn't tell you any of the dubs. So
Mm.
they got best voice artist performance Castilian Spanish. Like I couldn't tell you, dude. No, it's shocked.
That's yeah. So I think that's just Spanish and actually just in Spain. Like
They had that
that's
last year.
Yeah, they have
yeah.
Castilian Spanish, and then they also have Latin Spanish. So
Yeah.
they got a couple in there. Anyway, not important to us. So we'll be going through for how many categories it is, especially because we're not
Usually
counting
like
the voice ones.
20.
I think it's like in the 30s technically,
Might
but it's in
be.
the 20s because we're not counting the
Yeah.
bottom ones. So yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. We'll skip, like, they start anime of the year at the top, but we'll skip all those until the end. So what we'll be starting with is the best animation. Now Crunchyroll does 6 nominations per thing. I watched enough to do that. I don't think either of them watched quite enough to.
No,
I
I'm
will be
restricting it
naming
to ones I've
one
watched and ones I'm
winner.
familiar with. So
I might name some things that I'm like I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about multiple things in one category, but for the most part, I'm one winner.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I did 6 for everything almost. There's one that I physically could not do, and then there's also one that I decided not to fully fill out of spite for the shows in there. But
Mhm.
starting with best animation, generally whatever I start with as my first nomination is what I think is my winner, just to save
fair.
words there. But best animation was actually really hard for a lot of these were actually really hard for me to do. Some of them were just hard to fill out because I didn't really know what to put, and some of them were hard to fill out because there were a lot of things that I felt were deserving. But best animation, we had Freerun, Dungeon Meshi, Don Don. Everything past 1 doesn't matter, by the way, for the ordering. The top one's the winner. Everything else is just my fill out. But Freerun, Dungeon Meshi, Don Don, Hibike Season 3, Too Many Losing Heroines, and Solo Leveling.
Yeah, I think we actually lined up for most of these. I just put a few that I was like familiar with and that I watched. I put Freer and Soul Leveling as like my, I would say, top 2. I think Freer and there were a lot of good scenes, especially near the end, and then Soul Leveling. I mean, to be honest, that was animation was like the best part of it in my opinion. And then I put some like honorable mentions. I put Dandadan. I think the animation's like cool, and creative. And then oh no, sorry, that was my only honorable mention for that one. I had a couple others for some other categories, but yeah, that was my honorable mention. But I think Dandadan's animation was really good as well. So yeah, kind of lined up.
Yeah, I think for me, it's also Freerun and Dawn to Dawn are probably the two I think most of. I don't think I saw the category because I remember last year there was like art composition,
Yeah, I think
Which
that.
we have background art,
Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
art
which is not the
direction
same thing.
got
Art
sacked, I
direction,
think, for background art.
I think if
yeah,
art direction was still around, I would be giving the edge to Don for that because there were some phenomenal just artistic decisions, especially with the use of color in Don that I really liked. But if it's specific best animation, it's probably Freerun a little ahead for me.
yeah.
Yeah, I factored art direction kind of into not anime. Well, actually, a little bit of it. No, I put art direction kind of in one background art because that's what got sacked, or that's what replaced it. And then also direction as well. I kept that in mind at the very least, just because there wasn't a category for it. But I feel like it's a category they should have kept. But some
Yeah,
people
I agree.
aren't smart enough to understand art direction,
Mm.
so I actually do have their definitions up for everything, so I can
Oh
actually
yeah.
read these. Best animation, their Chat GPT
Oh, they still chat BT.
definitions.
Oh yeah.
I think some of them read fine, and then I looked through one of them earlier where I'm like, yeah, the human didn't write that. Or if someone did, it's like incredibly cliche and cringe. But anyway, best animation was here. We recognize anime that are visually stunning in the ways they bring their stories to life. No matter the style of animation, these shows put on a visual spectacle for viewers to enjoy, immersing audiences into previously unimaginable worlds. So yeah, just
Yeah.
show look good. But yeah, I mean, this was definitely a hard one. Everything I mentioned obviously is great animation, but there's so many shows I wanted to put in here. Um, like Sign of Affection, it's kind of like it didn't quite make the list, but they're just because of I guess the difficulty in terms of like continuous sign language animation and stuff like that, and the fluidity in that was really
Yeah.
good. Elusive Samurai, I give it its flowers a little later in this, but you know it had, I didn't think it had the consistency there, but I think it had a lot of extremely good highs. When I was picking best animation, I obviously thought about just general animation, but also the consistency. And then after consistency, I'm like, okay, what had like the biggest highs? Um, I almost put Dungeon Meshi first, just because I mean throughout two cores is extremely consistent, but um, I'm like, oh yeah, Freerun was like technically in 2024. Um, so yeah, that was
Yeah,
also two cores, also very consistent and very well made.
I included some of those shows that are in that weird going to count this year as Crunchyroll
Yeah.
transitions to the proper calendar
Yeah,
that they should have always been doing. So like first core of Frieren, um, first season of Shangri-La, kind of. I think it was second core of first season, something like that.
yeah.
There,
First core was in
yeah,
2023
Shangri-La also has the beginning of its second season in this
this
calendar cycle
year.
too.
Yeah,
So it's just like random part of Shangri-La. Doctor Stone New World Part 2 kind of counts during in like the fake definition this year. I'm probably not gonna talk too much about those unless I'm just like I have to give it here. So like for me, if I'm doing that definition when we get to best comedy, there's a clear winner that I will talk about then.
yeah. I didn't include anything from. Well, I mean, I technically included stuff from fall, but if it didn't carry over as a core, then
Yeah.
I did not include it. So like anything
Yeah.
that finished in fall was not part of mine.
Yeah.
Mine was just
So like
That's
calendar
fair.
year.
Freerun, yeah. So like
Freerun
Freerun, the first
continued
core
into it. Apothecary Dyers
is a
continued.
quote.
Yeah, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Some I was expecting to maybe put somewhere, but it didn't end up doing was Undead Unluck, because that continued into 2024, I believe. But the second half was marred with a lot of. While I mean, the content was very good, but there were a lot of issues with it, but it didn't quite make it
Production
anywhere
wise.
here. The direction was really bad, like really, really bad.
Gotcha.
And just because just a lot of, you could tell they're like, we need to pad this episode to get to this so we can end here. and that that was a problem in the first half too, but it became like abundantly clear what they were doing in the second half, so it just kind of hurt the second half of that. Anyway, so that was best animation. Um, moving on, next is best character design. This category, so this is one of the ones I definitely think is AI generated. What's it called? Explanation. This category celebrates artists who have either created iconic anime characters or breathed life into one from other sources. A designer who comprehends the essence of character design weaves narratives through the strokes of their drawings.
That is, yeah, this is Chat GPT coded for sure.
Might be a little.
I think whoever had to type this out was like,
Yeah.
because like I mean they're probably understand that like it's more than just like oh these characters look cool, but yeah. Anyway, this one was kind of difficult for me to choose, but
Yeah, me too.
I definitely have like a theme in here in terms of the things that I picked, but I will name the shows, and for fun, for some of the categories, if they called for it, I got the name of the person behind the thing we're
I have a
choosing.
lot of questions about one of the names on here, but we'll get to that.
I can tell which one.
You know exactly which one it is,
One of
because one
these
of
is
these is
not like
not the
the
same.
other. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. So, my winner was Oshinoko Season 2. The character design was helmed by Kana Hirayama. ReZero Season 3, Haruka Sagawa. The Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night was so the original character designs were created by Twitter artist Popman3580. Real
That's my
name,
guy.
don't know.
That's my guy, dude.
And then
Yes, Popman3580. Let's
and then
go.
the anime character design was from Junichiro Taniguchi. Girls Band Cry from Nari Teshima. Elusive Samurai from Yasushi Nishiya, and there's a category when I was looking up like the credits. There's a sub character designer, and what they do apparently is like if there is a minor character, like minor characters who appear like frequently, then generally they'll handle those while the main character designer deals with all the important people. So the sub character designer was Saki Takahashi. And then reluctantly put on here was Metallic Rouge, character designers. Main one was Toshihiro Kawamoto, and then the sub character designer was Shigeru Fujita. So, yeah, I'll talk about it in a second. Let you all make your picks here.
Sure.
So,
You can go first.
I think my winner, looking at stuff, thinking about it, is probably ReZero Season 3. But that's boring and normal. They win. Another show I thought of a lot for this that I want to talk about is "'Tis Time for Torture Princess," which is goofy kind of comedy show that happened near the first half of the year, I want to say. But there's just some fun designed characters in that, and this is probably the one thing with that I was like, one of the things I enjoyed the most about that show is just the expressiveness and like in the characters and just kind of the goofy stuff they did with the characters and their designs and subverting some expectations here and there. So probably not my winner. I think ReZero did, especially as someone who hasn't read any of the ReZero stuff. All of this is new. There's a lot of cool and interesting character designs that come out in season 3.
Yeah.
And I can't not say that that's my winner for the zany pick, but I do have to talk about my zany pick.
Okay, that's fair. You just don't want to be standard. I got it. Yeah, my winner was actually Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Spoiler, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is actually my winner for a lot of these because I just like thought about it a little bit more and I just felt like especially for like the design perspective of like I mean like for all these categories like ignoring the plot and whatever like just like the design of the characters and the background art I'll talk about later in other categories, but I thought that was just so good for Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Like I thought the characters were like kind of diverse in terms of like who they were and like their personalities, and I thought they were like their actual design in terms of like their art was really good. So yeah, that was my number one. My honorable mention, I guess, which I don't know if it's really an honorable mention, but like I guess ReZero season 3, when I'm thinking more about like the kind of changes from in terms of the art from season 2 to season 3, I think that was like a big improvement and that was noticeable in terms of like new characters and things like that that they introduced. Which I mean, obviously, I haven't read the light
Yeah.
novel like PK, but that also I thought was they did a good job of introducing them and portraying them in the anime. So those are my top two, I'd say.
Yeah, I really considered ReZero season 3 one because it definitely like what season 2 gave us versus what season 3. It's like night and day. Obviously, season 2 had production issues because of COVID and stuff, but and it's for sure very refreshing to see all the newly designed characters. I think like probably like 99% of the characters like improve. I would have to like really think about and nitpick to say what any characters had like a downgrade. Shout out to Anastasia's hips. We wouldn't have gotten that without
That's true. That's true.
without Haruka's Sayura's extraordinary work. We would not have gotten that glorious frame. But yeah, it wasn't my winner though. I mean, this was just hard to pick as a whole, but I just felt in the end Oshinoko season 2, because it's kind of interesting, right? You take characters that you already have designed, and now you're gonna have to like configure them to fit these like stage play, like redesigns, and have those work well within animation. They were, still be expressive and fit the character personalities and such. So I just thought, as a whole, just a really solid job from these character designer on bringing these characters to life here. So I mean, I guess they already brought the characters to life last season, but the redesigns basically for the stage play I thought were very well done, and so it's just kind of.
You haven't seen Oshinoko
landed.
season 2. Mostly because I read all of Oshinoko and I just haven't been that excited about watching it in anime format. But
season 2 is very well made, like extremely
yeah,
well. I would suggest watching it. Like even if you don't even have to watch the rest of season 1 if you don't feel like it. Like just watching season 2 at some point I think is worthwhile.
That's fair. That does not surprise me that it's good. And knowing the content that it is adapting, perhaps I'm kind of trying to do at least a little bit of my backlog. I did watch a couple anime in preparation specifically for this episode. There are a few things that I finished that I had not had finished last week because I needed stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we bullied you. Okay. More specifically, Daniel.
I unfortunately did not get to watch Frieren because I got mega distracted. I was gonna try and watch all of it last night for the second core. I mean, I've seen the first core.
Right. Yep. Okay.
Yep. All right. That was character design. So moving on now to best director. Here we celebrate how a great anime and a great director are almost inseparable. Of central importance, directors work behind the scenes, conveying their vision to animators, making critical decisions, and managing the creative aspects of the production. The result, an approach that is uniquely theirs. So for best director, this one was also a little difficult because there was a lot of very well directed series, but I think in the end, I'm content with what I put. So Elusive Samurai, directed by Yuta Yamazaki, Gimai Seikatsu, Sota Ueno, Look Back from Kyotaka Oshiyama, Dangers in My Heart Season 2, Hiroaki Akagi, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Ryohei Takashita, and the Shoshiman series from Mamoru Kanbei.
What do we mean when we say the Shoshiman series?
How to
I
Be
think I'm blanking.
Ordinary.
Gotcha.
Hyoka 2, if you will.
Yes. Okay, I just had to. I saw that, and I was like, "Why am I blanking on what that is?" This one's a weird one for me because I like a lot of the stuff I watched are kind of just one for one adaptations. Not that that's not still a like big directing choice, right? I also think if I had watched enough of it, I would feel comfortable from what I've seen of saying Elusive Samurai. I don't know that I've watched enough of it to feel like that's a fair thing for me to say. Um, but a lot of the shows I've watched were kind of just like normal adaptations of shonen, but shocker to nobody in the room, I loved Girls Band Cry. And I think with stuff like this, I'm biased towards original works. If it works really well, for me to be like, I loved the job that they did and the direction they did with this series.
Yeah. I'm actually glad both of you gave your inputs first because I have something to comment on both. So first of all, my pick was Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night again because I mean, like PK, I felt like a little bit more biased towards like original series. It just I don't know. When I think of directors, it's like you're taking on something entirely new that's like not an adaptation, right? So I don't know. It's just like, is it correct to bias it that way? I don't know, but in my head, it made sense, right?
It depends on
Um,
content sometimes too. Like last
yeah,
year, and if it counted this year, like Free Run First Core was something that we talked about last year. Like it was a difficult adaptation that they knocked out of the park, stuff like that. I just didn't feel like I had anything on my list that fit that definition in my head.
yeah, that's fair. Um, so yeah, that's like that was my pick. But now I'm like mad I didn't choose a look back because like I'm always thinking like, of course it's a movie, right? Um, but like when I'm thinking of these, I'm thinking of like anime, like serial, shows, right?
Yeah.
But I actually thought like the direction of Look Back was like incredible, right? Um, I mean, yeah, I love that movie. So,
It's like
um,
a funny pick.
yeah,
I also am not thinking of movies, but in
yeah,
this calendar year, I had the Haikyuu movie,
right.
which is just kind of continuing the Haikyuu story, and the new movie was really good, and
Mhm.
it probably, if I'm considering movies and thinking about it, is like a really strong contender for my best director.
Yeah, yeah. It's just there's like a movie category, but then I'm like not thinking about it for the rest of them. So, but yeah, I would say like honestly, my pick would probably be Look Back. I thought just like everything they did was just incredible. I actually got one of my friends to watch Look Back, and they said they really liked it. So that's another W
Yeah,
for.
I mean, the director also put in like just a shitload of work. Like he lived in the fucking studio or whatever for months to
Yeah.
get this shit done, and animated a lot of it like himself and such. It's like
Yeah.
just a dedication to the craft, and I probably would have had Look Back win if I wasn't trying to. Because if art direction was in here, Elusive Samurai would have been the winner for that for me, but
Mhm.
obviously it wasn't. So I wanted to slot it in somewhere to give flowers to the work that was done. Because I'm gonna be honest, like Elusive Samurai, I don't give a fuck about a lot of the things going on in that show, but it's extremely artistic, and it's very fun to watch it do. Like take the like if I read this as a manga, I'd fucking hate it probably. But what it was able to do as an anime was incredible, like very well done, and so I had to give it its flowers. They made me like something that otherwise I would have shit on, so that gives it the edge there. But yeah, all the other series I mentioned were very good as well. I didn't put I didn't put Freerun on here, because pretty confident last year if I dug up my list, he probably won that shit too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I don't need to repeat here for Core 2. Um, and then Apothecary Diary was probably an honorable mention if I had to assume. So I didn't feel like repeating those. So I had full new list in here. But yeah, so new category now though. Background art. This category celebrates the exceptional skill and artistry needed to craft the detailed, atmospheric, and often breathtaking environments that serve as the backdrop for anime narratives. These backgrounds are crucial in setting the tone, mood, and setting of a series, enhancing the storytelling experience with their visual depth and intricate design, bringing anime to life. Nominees in this category are distinguished by their ability to create captivating worlds that resonate with viewers, making the fictional realms of anime feel vivid and tangible as any real life setting. Um, I think it's pretty well put. I still think it's AI generated because something I noticed a lot with AI is it really likes making lists, and they're like multiple, like whenever it goes to like detailed, atmospheric, and often breathtaking, and then the very
Yeah,
next
that's like
sentence, tone,
so.
mood, and setting of a series. Like it's just kind of
Yeah, it reminds me of like how when you were in like middle school or something, and they taught you like how to write essays, you would
you're
like
trying to like boost the word count or
outline
some
it.
shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you'd have like a thesis with like the 3 parts. And, yeah, it's just so.
I mean, this very well could be the handwritten, and I feel bad if it is. But I just am very suspicious
Like, that-
of how much effort was put into the descriptions here.
yeah,
But yeah, so we got a fun winner here for me. So I put the background art. So obviously, I can't name one person for the background art because a lot of people work on background art, and so I put the art director if listed. Weakest Tamer was my winner, and I could not on any list they didn't have an art director listed, and so I looked it up, and there are like 3 people listed for like different episodes, but no one was listed for episode 1, so I have no idea what the fuck happened there. So I don't know. Go find if you're interested in who directed the art for Weakest Tamer. I have no idea. Go look it up. You'll probably find out. But I wasn't gonna put too much time into that investigation there, and only to maybe be wrong or some shit. But Weakest Tamer was my winner there, followed by Hibike Euphonium Season 3 from art directed by Mutsuo Shinohara, Dungeon Meshi Sachiko Nishiguchi, Too Many Losing Heroines, Yuki Hatakeyama, Love Live Superstar Season 3, Reiko Kasuga, and Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Yuji Kaneko.
I just wants to practice saying Japanese names.
I just
I
want to
haven't
give
finished-
flowers to the people who
I know,
deserve.
I know.
Sure. I haven't finished Superstar Season 3 yet, or started it, I don't think. But that's an interesting one there. I'm kind of curious
Superstar
now.
and I mean, I can talk about it in a second after you all talk.
I guess it depends.
Okay, I'll go. I'll say my number 1 was actually Train to the End of the World. I actually almost put this in best animation, but then I'm thinking about it, the animation wasn't actually that great. But I did like a lot of the like environments, I guess, that they were in. Whether it was executed perfectly or not, I mean, I thought it was good enough. I thought they did a decent job of like, I guess, displaying whatever emotion was necessary at the time. Like a lot of it was just like they're in a new location, so it's like very mysterious, right? So like,
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job of that. So that was kind of like my winner, just because that kind of stood out to me in terms of in terms of background art. My second was Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. I thought some of the settings, especially in the city or like at night in the city, I thought some of those settings and like the way the environment was shown, like with the colors and I guess lighting. I don't know if lighting is the right word, but like yeah, just the color palette and the lighting. I thought that was like really really well done. And I can just like distinctly like vividly remember like a lot of the scenes that occurred in the city in that anime. So that was kind of like my second one for that. I think both did a good job of like using background art to kind of amplify the emotions or whatever was going on at the time. So yeah, those are my top 2.
I have a funny pick because I feel like generally with best background art, I tend to like to think of kind of adventure series, First Core Freerun, stuff like that. But I didn't really watch a lot of stuff that traveled a ton. So when I was looking at my list, the thing that really stood out, funny enough, kind of the antithesis of that, was ReZero Season 3. which
Mm.
all is taking place in this one gigantic city. But it's also like just kind of helping make that city come to life and stuff like that, and really kind of, there's not a lot of you explore the city, but it's a lot of moving around the city, going to different parts, having different um compositions, I guess, for different areas, and kind of just it's like a fun take on the background art idea to me, where it's instead of what I would normally gravitate towards, which is something where it's going to a lot of places and doing a really good job composing a lot of different areas. It's more of like the job it's done creating this one gigantic area that's all similar but very different just
Yeah.
kind of stood out to me when looking at my list of things that really I don't have a lot of stuff that is going crazy out of its way or like traveling a lot. Kaiju number 8 is also something that came to my mind when I was looking at it, but I think just for the work it's done bringing the city that they're in to life and kind of like slowly introducing us to the different parts for ReZero stands out a little more to me.
Yeah. That's actually interesting. That's like it all takes place in like basically one area. It's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
I mean,
sense.
ReZero did that or does that a lot. in general.
Yeah, I guess like
Yeah, that is
within
true.
like specific arcs. Yeah, but it's fair.
Yeah. I did think about ReZero there because there are some extremely standout shots from
Mhm.
season 3, but I didn't pick it. So maybe Core 2. I doubt it, but yeah, I mean
We'll see.
the background art is really good though. Um, so my winner, I didn't explain it really, but I think one of the things that immediately drew me to Weakest Tamer was just like it looked considerably better than anything I would have expected from it. Probably we didn't pick like best episode ones or anything, and I'd have to think more about it, but like it was definitely one of my favorite premieres, especially for something new. And just the effectiveness of because a lot of the time, especially like early on in the season at least, it's our character alone with their pet slime or whatever. And so you have to do a lot of heavy lifting with the art to make it compelling or more compelling. And episode 1 really, really did that. Um, you could just look at the opening and like you'll get a good sense of like how the anime itself carried. Um, but there were some standout shots, especially in that premiere, and I thought it really brought life to something that the title seems very isekai slop, but I think it gave some soul to a series that I wasn't expecting a lot from and ended up really enjoying. So that is why it won for me. And then PK was questioning Love Live Superstar Season 3, but I just feel like Love Live Superstar in particular, maybe also like Nijigasaki, but obviously with these idols seemingly never-ending budget, so a lot of the dance stages obviously are pretty intricately designed. But just like on a general basis, I think the background art for Superstar in particular is generally pretty detailed, nice looking. Um, I think combined with the art direction, it kind of stood out to me. And maybe because I watched it, I binged the season recently, so maybe that was part of it. But I think overall, um, it's just a pretty continuously solid background art production wise. So that's why it's
That's fair.
there.
I was mostly just curious because, um, kind of similar to me picking ReZero here, it just kind of felt like a not unconventional pick, but like an interesting one in a different sense to like when I look at Dungeon Meshi on there, for example. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Thinking about the content and the production value and all of that, right?
Right. Yeah, Dungeon Meshi obviously. I mean, besides the fact that like production was great for it, it has a lot of different environments that the characters go through. So there's a lot of diverse background art. In a ever evolving world. So it definitely had a chance to win there, but I let the underdog take it.
Stay tuned for Orient Season 3 to compete next year.
I won't watch Orient Season 3 if that ever happens. So
Is that I was gonna say I don't think that's even a
it's not a confirmed thing, and I doubt
confirmed
it'll ever
thing at the
happen to
moment.
Orient's ass. But anyway. Moving on to now a more familiar category is best romance. A great romance can thaw the heart of the coldest cynic. These captivating stories draw us in and remind us of the best part of being alive. With their hopeful messages, these shows find a way to make you believe in the power of love.
Okay. The best part about
Okay.
being
Anyway, this is actually a really good year for romance, in my humble opinion.
as a romance expert.
As a connoisseur of romance good and romance slop, there was plenty to go around for both. Both sides of the spectrum there. But obviously, a romance good is what we're celebrating here. So, I chose as my best romance. Sign of Affection was my winner. Definitely not biased or anything. The Dangers of My Heart season 2. Too Many Losing Heroines, which I'll talk about later. But Tomozaki-kun season 2. 2.5D Seduction and Blue Box.
I'm interested in that talk because I've only seen 3 episodes, and I'm like, I don't know if I would call that a romance. So this will be funny. Do I even need to say? Anyone who knows me,
Bucks.
Gichi Harem came out this year.
Oh, never mind.
So Blue Box, actually, Gichi Harem and Blue Box is like a decent, good competition, but as like an overall series, I like Blue Box more. But if it's purely romance, Gichi Harem is like the top of the top for me. And the anime did was a good adaptation.
Fair. Forgot about you here. Mentioned that before, but yeah. Yeah, mine was Sign of Affection. I mean, that was the only one I picked because I don't know. I haven't watched romance this season. Just not.
I did like Sign of Affection. I just haven't.
Yeah.
I didn't watch enough to really consider it, and even if I had watched enough, it probably wouldn't pass Gichi Harem for me
Yeah.
because, like Daniel, I am biased.
Yeah. Well, I watched Sign of Affection. I thought it was an interesting spin on it, just like with the whole like the main character being deaf and the sign language and the yeah, I thought that was just like interesting. It was like an interesting, I guess, twist and good to increase awareness of that. So yeah, and the characters themselves, like for me, like it's like I mean I went on my like blue box rant about like,
Your Blue Box. I was gonna say your distrust
Box,
of
right?
Itsuomi for being.
oh no that but I was just saying like for me like a romance anime has a tendency to piss me off with the main character, like if I don't like the main character. But I thought the main character and the her love interest, or I guess the main characters, they were both like good, so I didn't have a problem with it, so I enjoyed it. So that was like yeah, but yeah, I agree. Like I'm always the guy was a little sus, it was a little too perfect, So that's about it.
Sometimes the guy is perfect.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
you never know.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, so Too Many Losing Heroines. I put that in there. I also thought, like, do I count this as a romance? And I think I do, on the grounds that I think it's an interesting take on romance.
Okay.
Because it's a much different angle. Like, rather than, like, building the harem for one dude, he's just being surrounded by girl fails as we watch them fail romance. So I feel like it's a much different, take on the genre. We're watching how they deal with the aftermath of their different fail experiences, and seeing how they move forward from that. And then yeah, I just think it's a much different take on romance, and so I think it's worth putting there, even if it's not not the
Not
traditional
like yeah.
type of thing where like I could see the series ending with the main character not like dating any of them. Do I think that'll happen? Probably not. But I could see it happening, and so I think it's a very interesting take on rom-com. So that's why it's there. Didn't win because I like Sign of Affection. That's in one of my favorite manga, and I like Yuki. But but it was a worthwhile addition to the list. But yeah, that is why that was there. If it was season 3 of Tomozaki, which hopefully exists one day, then that might have honestly won, because I think volume 9 of Tomozaki is one of the better things I've ever read, especially from the romance side of things. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll see that. But season 2 is good.
How long did it
Just
take
wasn't
for
my winner.
season 2? It's a couple
Um,
years, right?
Season 1 was season 1 2021. I don't remember. Hold on, let me see.
It might have been 2020, but
Yeah, I thought 2020, but I don't remember it. Yeah, it was 2021. I was gonna say.
okay. So like 3 years. That's not bad.
Yeah, 3 years. It took like a year, I think, for season 2 announcement or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe because I think the novel's near its end, so maybe once the novel ends, they'll be like, okay, maybe we can like put together the
Let's
rest
just
of this
do it.
anime.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, good series. Anyway, moving on to best comedy. Whether it's a surprising, fresh perspective or the witty exchanges, or the witty. Okay, this reads weird. Whether it's a surprising, fresh perspective or the witty exchanges could have come from a comedy master. Okay, that humor
I think
wrote
that
that.
sentence
That's
doesn't
gotta be it.
sound.
I don't. I think that's just fucked up rather than.
Just the words you're reading don't feel like they
I don't
go in a
think this
sentence.
works as a sentence.
Yeah.
Like not like it reads weird. I think it reads weird because it's wrong. So shout out to whoever wrote this. You were obviously real.
Real drunk.
All right,
What?
let me try and turn this into a real sentence. Whether it's a surprising fresh perspective or the witty exchanges that could have come from a comedy mastermind, the humor in these shows makes you the humor in these shows make you laugh out loud and have your side hurting by the end. All right.
I don't know if I've ever laughed so hard my side hurt. I don't know. I mean, probably.
I guess this sentence does kind of make sense. It reads like
No.
dog shit though, and they should be ashamed.
There was also a random aside. It's just every time I hear the laughing so hard your side hurts, I'm like, have I done that?
Yeah.
It's like a show has never done that to me, and I don't think it ever
Yes.
will.
I don't
But
think
like
so.
it has to be like one of those like never forget it like funny moments with friends or something like that.
Yeah,
laughed me
Yeah, I
like
exactly.
that
agree.
hard.
I'm cheating. This category. I don't know that anything I watched I would classify as a comedy. Um, at least in a way that I feel good about.
I'll have to talk about some of mine because I also was like iffy on some of them. But
So,
before we move on to that, I just want to read this
oh,
sentence correctly now.
okay.
So because
He's determined.
I've looked at it now in like the full context, and I
right.
understand what they were going for. I just don't think it's a very good sentence. So whether it's a surprising fresh perspective or the witty exchanges could have come from a comedy mastermind, like the way that reads is bad.
Yeah, it doesn't
but
feel.
it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I find it. I can articulate it in my head, but then when I go to like actually speak it, I don't
it
really know
makes
how
sense.
to get the words out. Anyway, bad sentence works, but it's bad. And yeah, you know what? I take it back. That's AI. Only AI could have wrote a sentence that stupid.
It could
Anyway,
be.
best comedy. I said Konosuba season 3, Too Many Losing Heroines, Dungeon Meshi, 2.5D Seduction, Dandadan, and because I needed a sixth one, I put Nokotan, which I enjoyed sometimes.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. I mean, it is pure comedy. So, in
Yeah,
the sense that that's pretty much the one thing it does.
Yeah. I did Dandadan just because like it made me laugh and like it's just ridiculous, bro. It's just crazy. it was just zany. But yeah, that was my pick. I didn't watch. I mean, I didn't watch any other like actual comedies. So
Kind of same. I mean, Don exists and is a decent choice.
Yeah.
Gichi Harem is kind of funny sometimes. I don't really know. I'd call it a comedy. It's more like cute funny than like funny funny.
Mhm.
But I'm cheating for this category because winter 2023, technically, whatever season is Crunchyroll eligible
Fall
that is not
2023.
fall 2023.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I thought it was winter. I don't know. Because I thought it would be fall 2024 would be the one. Anyway,
No,
whatever.
or fall. No, fall 2024 is the season we just had.
Yes,
Yeah.
whatever is eligible. Because I know it. I know the season. Whatever's eligible in that season was 100 Girlfriends. And so I'm cheating this one time. And I'm saying 100 Girlfriends because I'm not satisfied with just handing it over to Don or Gichi Harem that just don't feel like comedies to me.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
fall 2023.
Yes.
Okay.
Technically, I finished it in January of 2024.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So,
So that's what qualifies as like eligibility. Okay, interesting.
well, it's qualified as eligible because Crunchyroll's been dumb the last few years
Yeah.
and has had that weird cutoff. And this year,
Now they're
they're
extending it
rectifying
further.
it, but so they don't like screw over the shows like Spy Family Season 2, Core 2, whatever it was. 100 Girlfriends, Freeman's First Core, stuff like that that wasn't eligible for last year's awards. They have the extra core included in this next awards. Which is why I'm cheating, but it's on a technicality. I can say it.
all right. Yeah, I mean, Too Many Losing Heroines was really funny. But it wasn't like a pure comedy. I think that's why I didn't go ahead and do that. Konosuba season 3, pure comedy. And while I've been iffy on some of the past Konosuba seasons, I really like season 3, so I gave it to it. Dungeon Meshi was also very funny, but it was also like, I think one of my issues with these anime that are like part comedy and part very serious is that some of them have like tonal shift issues. And Dungeon Meshi didn't have it often, but sometimes it did. And it would be sometimes we would just shift too hard from like something that's very serious into like comedic aspects of the characters and stuff, where I would have liked maybe a little bit more of a buffer. And so that's why it didn't quite go there. um, the same with the 2.5D Seduction. Uh, wasn't a it's a I mean it's a rom com, but I think most of the comedy, like I like the chemistry between the characters. I think that's where most of the comedy comes from there. So it wasn't quite good enough to win there. I honestly don't even find Don Don like that funny. But I thought it can be funny. And then Town, obviously, I said I guess it next to it. So I mean, that says all you need to know about that show. It peaked episode 1, had some funny moments in some of the other ones, but I just didn't know what else to put. So that there it is. But yeah, moving on to best action. A great action sequence can elevate a story to new heights and masterfully deliver thrilling moments that captivate viewers with pulse-pounding and high-stakes scenarios. These shows expertly blend dynamic visuals with compelling narratives. Questionable, anyway. Creating an unforgettable experience that keeps audiences on the edge of their seats. I had Windbreaker as my winner for best action, Solo Leveling, Elusive Samurai, Don Wistoria, and Shangri-La Frontier.
For me, it's
Yeah.
probably just Shangri-La Frontier. I'd say there's some other ones. Kaiju number 8 had some good action sequences. This particular part of Shangri-La Frontier that's eligible isn't like the craziest section. I mean, fake
I mean,
Crunchyroll rules.
well,
We can include a whole second core,
the second
but
core of Shangri-La Frontier aired in winter, so you could technically say that it was
Yeah.
2024. So the
if
good
I can
part,
count the second core of the first season of Shangri-La,
like
it definitely helps
I
me
count
feel a lot
second
better
core is
about this.
2024. So yeah, I was very
Yes.
confident putting it in there.
Yeah. Then I'm pretty
Okay.
comfortable saying Shangri-La Frontier because you get the second half of the first season, which was pretty solid. Um, And it should have had the fight.
The fight, the 4-episode
fight.
extravaganza.
And you get the first core of this season that's happening right now, which isn't like the strongest in terms of fights, but it's still good in action. It's just you get the current stuff that's happening now, which is really good, but it's questionable how much of that even counts towards the quote 2024 bubble.
I mean, the fight started
But
in 2024. It's just
yeah,
it's continued
exactly.
into
It's just
2025.
continuing on still. For me, still, I'd say Shangri-La. I mean, the action in Shangri-La is probably the thing I enjoy the most. So I'm pretty comfortable putting it here. It's just funny with how Shangri-La Frontier was split up that it's like a very weird section of the show to be talking about.
I put Don in Solo Leveling. I feel like it's very likely one of those will win. Will end up winning in the Crunchyroll Awards, but I like both, so I don't have much to say about either of them. I thought they were both
It'll be interesting because
fun.
I don't know what the public opinion of solo leveling is, but
Yeah.
if there's any category that I think solo leveling
The
should win, if it's as popular as we're led to believe, I think it would be this one.
the public opinion of solo leveling, it's very big. Like, it's one of those things
Yeah.
that, like, I don't think people realize just how big it is, but I mean, it's big. It's real big. It'll probably win.
I don't. That's precisely what I'm saying here. Is I'm like this feels like the category that it's like, if solo leveling doesn't win this, it's not winning anything. But
I
if
mean, maybe
solo
like
leveling
best
wins
animation, maybe.
this, perhaps solo leveling wins this, that's kind of like the floodgates to like how much stuff will solo leveling take.
Yeah. I put Windbreaker because I mean the fucking choreography was insane. Like when I showed
I
you
like
all the first episode clip.
yes.
For and then like we got to like episode 2 and like the show did the show just peak at episode 1? Like, is that what this is gonna be? And then we got to like the middle of the season. I'm like, holy shit, we did not peak. we're in the thick of things now. Yeah, there was like a good like 3-4 episodes of just straight fucking gas. Like the fights were insane. So I didn't think Windbreaker was particularly good, but it was very entertaining nonetheless. It's extremely generic in every single category, but they can punch the fuck out of each other and
Yeah, I
look
was
really
gonna
cool
say
while doing it. So yeah,
this is kind of one of those. This was its thing picks.
yes, like if it had like mid-ass action outside of episode 1, I would have given this like a fucking 6, like 5.5, 6 out of 10 and been like, yeah, it was mid. But it got bumped up to, I mean, it was at least a 7. I don't remember if I gave it a 7.5 or not, but like the animation was crazy for those fights, and hopefully in season 2 it will continue that, because if it doesn't, I will not watch season 3 if it ever gets one. But yeah, the action was pretty crazy. So Solo Leveling's action was very good, even if I don't like Solo Leveling. But it just I thought Windbreaker had more interesting choreography, especially considering like Windbreaker is just like straight hand. Solo Leveling has like the whole fanatical element to it, so it has like flashier fights. But I thought the Windbreaker action was more technically impressive, so that's why I gave it to that.
From just the stuff you showed us, I'd say I agree / respect that. But I also haven't seen solo leveling, so it's like of the ones you've listed, I've seen at least a portion of the other 4. Obviously, Shangri-La Frontier is mine. Elusive Samurai. From the things I've seen and know, it's kind of like when you were talking about consistency with animation. Like Elusive Samurai had some like really good peaks.
Yeah,
With
I
a lot
thought
of its action.
the highs of Elusive Samurai were like extremely fun and artistic, and that's why I put it there. But it wasn't like, if it wasn't doing that, then it was like fine usually.
Yeah.
But New category. Woo! Replacing
Bring back
fantasy.
best fantasy.
Bring back best
Demon Slayer's
fantasy and just
dead.
don't allow Demon Slayer to be a fucking part of it, dude.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Frieren had this in the bag, and now it's isekai.
Now it's best isekai. Yeah, I actually could not come up with 6 isekai. I did not watch 6 isekai. And well, maybe I did, but I just didn't want to put one of them on there. Maybe, but
I think I watched 2. Just
me-
looking at my list.
go to my list.
There's
2024.
1.5.
Now I could do the funny thing, fake Crunchyroll rules. Doctor Stone New World Part 2.
All
Those are
right, we're
your
not.
rules.
We're not doing
These
this
are your
right now.
rules.
No, I mean, yeah, I watched 2 isekai, and while I enjoyed both of them in different ways, there is a very clear difference between the 2 isekai I watched.
Yes.
ReZero Season 3 and Loner Life in Another World.
Oh my god.
I
I
wonder
don't
which
think
could
I
win.
need to say who won.
Yeah, like
But
it's yeah.
I picked ReZero, bro. ReZero goated.
Yeah. It's only a little weird because it's season 3 of ReZero, and it's like we're so far past the isekai part of the show.
I mean, it's still an isekai though, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only watched 5 isekai. Overlord movie is on my planning, but I don't think we have access to that yet, so that's not happening. And then for some reason, Blue Archive has the isekai tag, but I don't think that's actually true. Like what?
That doesn't check
That
out
doesn't, that doesn't feel,
my
I don't,
knowledge.
I actually I haven't watched past like episode 2, maybe it's 1. I watched 2. I watched 2 episodes, so maybe it is these guys.
Maybe there's something.
Maybe there's something there, but I don't remember
some
from
subplot. Yeah.
what knowledge I have of the game. I don't remember that being a thing. But anyway, of the 5 I watched, ReZero obviously the fucking winner. Followed by Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2, Weakest Tamer, Konosuba Season 3, and then Reluctantly Slime Season 3, which I have not finished, and I don't think I'm going to like it by the end of it, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, pretty explanatory. I'm not even going to read the fucking thing. We know how this is the most generic ass category possible. They should have just done like best fantasy, not counting Demon Slayer.
Best fantasy, but for real, guys.
Real fantasy, please.
It's sad because Demon Slayer literally just ruined the best fantasy category. I don't necessarily think it's bad to have a best isekai category.
I mean, there's so many of them,
It's
it
just
makes sense,
funny.
but it's just like,
Yeah.
the problem with best isekai, dude, there's like no good isekai.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting 1 to 2 good ones a year, and then we're getting stuff like Loner Life in Another World. Was it an okay watch? Yes. Can I comfortably say it was a good show? No.
Yeah, like Freerin, really good fantasy. Fucking Dungeon Meshi, incredible fantasy. Like all these different types of fantasies, and then it's like, all right, well, I mean, I guess I'll put Slime Season 3. Yeah, like it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I like ReZero, I like
Danmachi
Mushoku,
Season 5.
I like Weakest. Yeah, Danmachi could have been there. I like Weakest Tamer, Konosuba. I'm warming up to, and Slime. I'm warming down, but I don't know. Like what are we doing next year? I mean, well, ReZero will be back again, I guess. ReZero just gets to win the best isekai category. Like, there's literally no competition.
Yes, it's free this year. Speaking, just because I've noticed as we've talked about
Well,
stuff.
maybe not free. I don't know. I could see like some splits happening between ReZero, Mushoku, and Slime and Konosuba. Those, I mean, those are like 4 really big fucking isekai. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but hopefully ReZero wins.
Speaking of Danmachi, just because I've noticed as we've done stuff, did you include Danmachi Season 5 when you were looking at stuff?
It's not done, so
it's
I
kind of
hesitate.
weird. That's
Well,
fair.
I mean, granted, I have things in here I haven't finished, but it is in like a weird limbo area where I've liked this season. I also don't know where I'd slot it in for the most part in here.
That's valid. I was just kind of curious because we haven't heard it come up on any of your stuff yet. To be fair, it hasn't come up on any of my stuff yet either. So
yeah, I think the problem with Danmachi is I think it maybe could have made best continuing series, which we'll get to later. Maybe. But Don Machi is like very solid, but I don't feel like what it does is like it doesn't have the same highs as everything else. It's like in this weird area where it's above average, but not like dominant in any one category. It's just solid across the board generally. So I find it hard to include. It could have been included in Best Fantasy, but we didn't get that. We couldn't do that. So, we have Best Isekai now. Anyway, moving on to Best Drama. These anime convey something essential about the human experience. Their mastery of building and relieving tension sets fans on the edge of their seats, feeling all their feelings and compelling them to invest deeply in the characters and their stories. So I had Hibike Season 3 as my winner, Apothecary Diaries, Oshinoko Season 2, ReZero Season 3, Tomozaki-kun Season 2, and Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2.
I had ReZero as my winner, though I don't know. Like a lot of shows that I was thinking of were like drama adjacent, but I just had ReZero as my winner. I think that was it's like pretty fair. Some of the other shows that I thought about were like just not good, like straight up. Like Jellicoe's Nursery was just not good. It's a drama, but it just was not good. And thought about Bartender, but I don't think that's like classified as a drama. So yeah, unfortunately, ReZero. Unfortunately or fortunately, ReZero is my pick.
I love drama adjacent. Gigi Harem's about the drama club. I don't know if
I don't
there's
think
an
that's.
ounce
I
of
don't think
drama
that's.
in that
I
show.
don't think that's quite what we're looking for here.
I think you might be right. ReZero is obviously good drama that what it does. I thought about Danmachi season 5 here.
I think that's fine.
Funny enough, after I was talking about that, it's something where it's like in terms of the Danmachi seasons, this is probably the one that's the most.
Yeah, the season's content is definitely like drama.
Yeah. I thought about those two, but then I watched Girls Band Cry. Which once again, did you both finish it?
I've watched 5 episodes and
Wait.
I don't dislike it, but I don't think it's as good as everyone else. Now, granted, I could watch episodes 6 through 13 and be like, my bad. I should have included it as one of the best dramas. But we'll see.
I think it depends. Did you finish Spat, or are you also
No,
probably?
no. I was like halfway, like episode 6 or
Okay.
something, and then but yeah.
There's a lot of like themes and stuff that it unpacks. I've really loved this. Because my go obviously last year and everything I talked about a ton. I really loved this new wave of taking these like music drama anime and really like delving into difficult to talk about topics and not because a lot of this genre people think about like the K-ons and stuff like that, which are great, but they're just kind of fun. And then we got Gochu the Rock, obviously, which was kind of like a middle ground. It, had some drama stuff to it, but really, it wasn't getting into anything too deep. And then Mygo, Girls Band Cry, both. I'm sure there's others. I know people take those two to talk about Jellyfish a lot. In kind of like the same vein. So I don't know how much this applies to Jellyfish, but I know I've heard it in the same conversations. But those two for me delve into these really like dark and difficult topics centered around music and the drama of the series. So it's I think they are kind of something that either really hits you as a specific person or you're kind of like, oh wow, that's a lot. And so I don't necessarily know that you'll finish it and you'll have the same opinion of me of like, oh wow, the drama of this is crazy or anything like that. I just love the fact that this is another one of those series that kind of took these like really like dark, difficult turns and said, you know what, we are going to incorporate some of that into the drama. I think the only knock it gets for me is the whole driving force behind the band and the girls in terms of like the current moment stuff is kind of oddly not something I'm a fan of. Like for you guys, even you know this to this point, but kind of like the whole drive of the main characters is to have their band succeed as like who they are, right? Without giving in to what the like record companies want, what the public wants. Instead, they want to be able to just succeed and make the music that they want to make.
Yeah.
But then for like the whole season, that kind of becomes like if we don't succeed or if we do succeed, that determines whether we were, right or wrong to have stuck to these morals, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I like the idea behind it, but as the kind of like primary driver of the plot, it feels like it gets a little overdone at times. But with so many of the other factors that come into the story that just hit me specifically really well, I had to put this at least as my best drama.
That's fair. I need to finish it.
I will finish it. Whether or not I will come to a conclusion that people who like the show like, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I'm like very touchy with dramas. I either love them or like people who hype up certain dramas. I get through them and I'm like, yeah. Sorry,
I think I'm on the fence for you. My gut says you'll probably be more neutral on it than a lot of people, but who knows? It like I said, I think these are topics that can really like hit certain people and other people they don't, and that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Next up, best slice of life. While these anime focus on everyday events, the best are anything but ordinary, capturing quiet moments in breathtaking ways. These nominees provide relief from the frantic pace of the world, placing relationships with all their emotion, humor, and heartbreak front and center. I had a very hard time choosing for this one because I feel like this year I really didn't watch as many pure slice of lives as I usually do. And so, not to mention, I really fumbled the bag on finishing a lot of certain things. And maybe things I was like thinking might be, a slice of life that I really enjoy ended up not quite hitting. And so a lot of the stuff here, it's like slice of life with like an asterisk next to it. It's definitely not the focus of most of these, if really any of them, honestly. But it's what I got. So if any list had the slice of life tag on it, then I let it be eligible. So because it was the most slice of life out of all of these, I didn't even fucking finish this. But Shoshiman series, which I will finish eventually. But I felt from what I watched, I had like a decent grasp on it. Unless things get fucking crazy, which I actually think they do, but I'll find out eventually. Um, and then Sign of Affection, Dangers of My Heart season 2, Gimai Seikatsu, Love Live, and 2.5D Seduction.
You already know what I'm gonna say.
What are
Giji
you gonna
Harem.
say? Okay,
Giji
that's
Harem.
fair. That's
It's
fair.
just a slice of life. Like Giji Harem is two things. It's romance and it's slice of life. Anything else? Maybe there's some debate for comedy. Like I said, I don't really, as a big fan of the series, I don't really want to attribute comedy to it. But it's 100% romance. It's 100% slice of life. I think it does those two things really well.
Okay, mine. I mean, my pick was also freaking dude. I can't. Okay, yeah, my pick was also dude, I'm zoning out. Sign of Affection. Holy crap, Sign of Affection. And then I also like I had an honorable mention, which is like it's not really. I put Dungeon People, but like it's not really like actually it doesn't actually qualify. I don't know. I just put it because I thought like I mean it had like
It probably qualifies, yeah.
uh, it's
Does
like
Bartender qualify as a slice of life?
Uh,
it's a
yeah.
slice of some guy's life.
Something.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
a slice of someone's life each episode. It's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, it's chill. It's closer to a slice of life than a drama, I'd say. So I don't know. But yeah, I'd say Sound of Affection is probably number one, which I guess is like more romance, but it's like the same thing.
At least like the romance
Yeah.
in Sign of Affection gets going pretty early, so you get to more of like a slice of life, like chill romance versus like the typical build up of like
Yeah.
most anime.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the arc of like how the romance goes. Yep, that makes sense. Damn, I really wanted to pick Dungeon People, but just unfortunately it didn't
Big
qualify.
dungeon people. Be unconventional.
Yeah, that's true. I gotta be
I
quirky.
would say Dungeon People is pretty slice of lifey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know
got
much
some-
about it.
Tag like it.
It's
It's built like one.
yeah. Just an interesting environment, but yeah, it's I guess it's slice of life. There you
Yeah,
go.
I would say it's slice of life. It's in a fantasy world, but it's like it has the comfy vibes, and I think
Yep.
that's something
Yep.
that works there.
That's fair. For that one. Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Best main character. Whether hero, anti-hero, or villain, a main character is the face of their series, but it's not just their personalities or characteristics that make them beloved. It's their well-developed stories and the journeys they take us on that make them worthy. For me, I had my winner was Kumiko from Hibike Season 3, followed by Tomazaki from Tomazaki-kun Season 2, Mao Mao from Apothecary Diaries, Nukumizu from Too Many Lucent Heroines, Ichikawa from Dangers in My Heart Season 2, and Aqua in Oshinoko Season 2.
Is this where we have the whole like main character versus supporting character argument, by the way? That we have every year.
We can do that when we get to supporting characters.
Yeah, okay, deal. Main character I'm conflicted on this one. Partially because I don't feel like I watched a lot of stuff that felt like it had super strong mains, even if I'm expanding it to like include like Rin from Gigi Harem, right? Who's someone that comes to mind that I really liked this season. And I'm trying to separate my bias towards the fact that I've read the novel for what we've seen of Danmachi season 5 so far, because I love the content and the stuff that they've put Belle through. But I think a big part of that is because I read that and not just what I've seen watching.
I mean, he's a solid character, regardless.
I still think I would probably give it to Belle in the end, because there's just no main character that I look at here that I'm like has had a standout season. I mean, Taiki is one of my favorite main characters, the main character from Blue Box.
I guess it's
But
troll. I hate the guy. Anyway, continue.
no.
Sorry,
Hear me out. Taiki is one of my favorite main characters, but not for his season 1 content.
Okay, fine.
And so,
He's a redemption
like,
arc, I got it.
in this context, I don't necessarily think you'll like Taiki at all, but in this context, he wouldn't really be eligible or qualifying here, because through the season 1 content, I like him, but he's not like all the way up there. So I'm probably gonna settle on Belle, just because I think the content of this season has been content that has just super tested him and forced him to grow a lot, as did the last season of Denmachi too. So I didn't have any super strong main characters, I felt like, though, at least from the stuff that I've seen.
Is it troll if I say Subaru?
It's not.
No.
I
I
thought
don't know.
about
I
it,
like
but
him, bro.
I mean, he's my favorite main character in anything ever. I just didn't put him here because he's not like
we're judging this season specifically.
like when we get, you know what, when we get to Arc 6, I'll be right there with you. But
okay.
this
Cool
isn't like a giant character based like arc right now. So, or at least not in the traditional.
Not where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my pick was Subaru, and then like I put an honorable mention the main guy from Bartender Ryu. He's cool. I don't know. I just thought he was like he had some like very wise words about like bartending and interacting with customers that I thought were interesting. I don't know. He wasn't like an insane main character, but I thought he was interesting enough that I decided to put him as my honorable mention, because I couldn't really think of anyone else that like really stood out to me. Yeah. But I don't know, dude. Subaru's the goat. Love that guy.
Yeah. I'd always liked Kumiko before, but I think season 3 was like so good. Like this is what I was waiting for from her character. It was all this build up from season 1 to the movie. It just all culminates into what is definitely her best season, which propelled her into one of my favorite characters, and also I just think she was definitely the best character overall from this here year of anime. But yeah, moving on to supporting characters. This character celebrates a supporting character like they were number one. They come in all shapes and sizes, but the best among them can shine as brightly as their main character counterparts when called upon. Yeah, obviously, supporting character is an awkward
Yes.
category.
Something we debate about yearly.
Yes. I mean, I really, if a lot of people look at like if you think about like Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, like I wouldn't call Megami a supporting character, but some other people might, like go. I feel like if they appear too much, they feel less like a supporting character.
I feel like the problem is, by the definition a lot of people use, like I think you were pretty much about to say this, but like Gojo would be a supporting character to a lot of people because he's not the literal one and only main character of the series.
Yeah, I don't think you
But
have to
that's
be
not how
the
either of us think
protagonist
about it.
to
Yeah.
be like a main versus, because like think like Oshinoko is a big one, because some people might say Kana or Akane are supporting characters, but I think they're very much main characters within the story. So
Yes.
even if they're not like the protagonist like Aqua or Ruby, like they are so integral to what goes on that they are main characters in my eyes.
I think that's. I don't know if we've specifically separated the word main character from protagonist before, but I like that you're using that specific word because I think that's the distinction that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. But anyway, this was a little hard because I'm not usually thinking, especially when I like really like try and make it so it's like more of like a in the weed, not in the weeds kind of character, but like I don't want to choose like Kana for this because I think she is a main character, stuff like that. So, um, best supporting character, I ended up choosing Norn from Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2, followed by Fuka from Tomozaki Season 2, Kanade from Hibike Season 3, Kabru from Dungeon Meshi, Haru from Blue Box, and Mayuri, who is the club teacher in 2.5D Seduction.
I had to think about who that was for a second. Haru is a fun pick for this part of Blue Box. What's also fun is I have two supporting characters in mind. I never really picked one, so I'm just going to talk about them both a tiny bit. First of them, also from Blue Box, not Haru, is Kyo, the best friend of Taiki.
Yeah, he's a good character.
Just because I like his early season stuff. I mean, for people who read Blue Box, obviously, there's probably a decent argument through this far into the manga that you could think of him as a main character. But at least I still don't think I would. But at least through season 1 content, he just is a nice supporting character to me.
Yeah, season
He's
1,
a bro.
right now, he feels like almost like a viewer stand-in, where he's like very perceptive to everything that's happening and kind of tries to push things along.
Kind of wingmanning a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also in kind of the opposite way, as me just picking Kyo off of like vibes and liking him. Freya from Danmachi season 5. And I will not elaborate further because there's so many spoilers to get into with that.
Like, her supporting character.
So that's that's where I'm like questioning it.
That is
Because
you're.
Freya probably is a main character for this
I
season.
mean, she's like the main antagonist.
Yeah,
So I don't know if
that's where
supporting
it gets
character is
weird.
where I would put that, but you know, you
But
go
she's
crazy.
also the
What do you mean?
other thing, and her existence in this whole season and the content to come as well is all very weird. And so I don't know. We don't have a best antagonist, which is where I would put her normally. And if we did, I probably wouldn't even mention her here. But I don't know. I don't know if I should count her. Um,
I would
she's
say
kind of
no,
like
but I'll allow it.
she's kind of like a little bit of everything because of where she specifically sits in all of the weirdness that is Denmachi season 5. Um, so that's why it kind of came with 2, because I feel like per my normal definition of supporting character, she shouldn't be eligible, and then so my pick would be Kyo, which is just like a fun, good pick, and I feel comfortable with that. But I at least wanted to mention her, if for no reason other than um, I don't think there's a category that she fits into otherwise.
Yeah, I had a lot of I had a tough time picking a supporting character that wasn't like I just like weird zany characters. So I tried to pick I don't know. Mine were troll, but my first one was the old dude Zenjiro from Train to the End of the World cuz he's
Okay,
I don't
I
know,
actually
I
considered
vibe
putting
with
him
that.
in there.
Yeah,
I fuck with that.
he's so like
His
it's so
fucking
stupid.
goofy ass like hammer
Yeah,
communication or whatever the fuck.
yeah, the Morse code or whatever,
Morse
yeah.
code, yeah.
Yeah. But that's like that's so stupid.
I fuck with
And
that.
then my other one was like I guess it's classified as supporting uh but the grandma from Dandadan. But
I
I don't
would
know.
I would say
I would
that's
say
valid.
she's supporting it.
Yeah, I guess, right? Because she's like only there in a few episodes. Well, I guess most of the episodes, but like, lower screen
Dananon,
time.
yeah,
She's definitely
Dananon
not
could get
like
a
a
little weird with it.
main.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, at least at this point, she's not really main.
It's funny. So.
She'll be like one of those recurring characters that is
Mhm.
always there, but not quite like ever in the spotlight for now,
Yeah.
at least.
I think obviously there's the main 2, and I'd probably say the other 2 I'd also consider mains, or at least they're being framed like they will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, yep, those are my 2 picks. I think I was looking at all my other anime and I'm like, man, some of them are just like kind of like so irrelevant that it doesn't matter. So it's like, I don't want to pick them. And then some of them I just didn't really care about, or I care more about the main characters. So
I had a lot that were
those
really
are
hard to think about. Giji Harem basically has 2 characters. I mean, there are other characters in Giji Harem that I could have picked, like the Drama Club president, who's pretty funny. It would have been a based and fun pick, but Giji Harem's basically just the 2 main characters and some friends. And everything else I watched was like Alia, which I haven't talked about at all yet. But Alia, for example, I don't know that I would classify any of like the cast really as supporting characters, except for obviously
I mean,
the
there's like some
2.
really like the very obvious side characters, but like anyone who appears
Yeah,
like on a very like Alia, her sister Yuki, like none of them are like obviously side
yeah.
characters. So
Like the president would maybe be the one I
yeah,
think
I
of,
would say he's definitely a supporting character. Yeah.
or if I really vibed with the girl from the debate and stuff like that. But like Yuki is probably the best example, right? Like if I thought Yuki was a supporting character, then I would consider her here, but I just don't. I think to me Yuki is a main character.
Yeah, I kind of separated my picks into like I had 3 that I thought are just like genuinely good characters, and are very interested in their support role, and I also had 3 for vibes. Uh,
Haru's
vi-
a vibe.
vibes were Kanade, Haru, and I mean Kanade is also a really good character, but Kanade, Haru and Mayuri were mostly vibes. And they're all good characters in their own right. But Fuka is one of my favorite characters, like in general. Not exactly for this season's content, partially, but not all of it. Most of it is like season 3 content. Kabru, for anyone who's seen Dungeon Meshi, he's a really interesting side character that I'm sure I'm gonna see more of eventually. And I don't know if he'll ever be like a main or anything, but he has like main potential. And then Norn went from like kind of like an afterthought in Mushoku Tensei to I think probably my favorite character. So yeah, that she had a really good season, even though she wasn't like super. I mean, she had like a spotlight episode, and then she had some very good scenes towards the end of the season. But yeah, I would
Norn
say
is the sister.
yeah, he is the sister, like his actual like full sister, not half sister type of thing.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, on to everyone's favorite character, favorite category, the must protect at all costs character. These are the characters that make the world feel like a kinder, more special place, whether they're an earnest protagonist who always gets back up, or a pure-hearted cinnamon roll who holds a group together. These characters remind us that there are some things in life worth protecting. Yeah, so just like last year, I take this category, and regardless of who the person is or if they could protect themselves, if I would die for that character, then I put them on here. So my winner was Yuki from Sign of Affection for obvious reasons. Ivy from Weakest Tamer, Fuka from Tomozaki Season 2, Ririsa from 2.5D Seduction, Mutsumi from Yozakura Family, and Kurumi from Too Many Losing Heroines. And even though Anna is my favorite character from that, I felt
Kurumi felt better.
she's a good character, and I still really like her character. She's like a close second, and then she also fits the category better, I think.
Yeah. What's funny is I feel like your first two, Yuki and Ivy, both just like fit what I think about this category, regardless of the stipulation.
I'd say the only one who's like maybe questionable will be like Mutsumi at best, for the category, and then the rest of them I think fit pretty well.
I would agree with that. It's Rin Nanakura from Gichi Harem. Fairly straightforward to me. I mean, obviously, Chinatsu comes to mind because she is one of my favorite female characters. Period. But this is where like the category thing comes in, right? This isn't best girl, which they're both in my top 20. But Rin feels like much more of a protect to me than Chinatsu does. And so, due to category, I would give the edge to Rin.
I chose to abstain from this category. I'm
You
sorry.
abstained. He's
You don't want to
protesting.
protect anyone?
There's
Nobody?
There's not a
They don't
single
deserve
there's not a character you would give your life for.
Absolutely not.
You know,
Is there a character you would give your life in Minecraft for?
Steve from Minecraft? I don't know. No.
I mean, I'll just tell you right now, for 2025, Inari from Medalist is winning this, and I would sacrifice both of you, actually, for her as well. So she, like, double wins the category.
I think that's just murder.
No, I mean, if I had to choose
Honorable
between,
sacrifice,
like,
bro.
think about it. If I could guarantee her success by sacrificing my podcast host, would I? And the answer is, like, an overwhelming yes. Like, I wouldn't even hesitate. You all would be gone, and she would be succeeding, and the world would be better off for it, It's one of the
Are
things
you
that has to
also
happen.
coming with us?
If I have to, I will.
Okay. I'll take that deal.
Anyway, now that category is over. Best anime song. This category recognizes a vocalist, soloist, duo, group, collaborative recording, or instrumental played during any part of an anime series or movie film. These songs are songs that get stuck in your head, make you want to sing along, or give you a rush of emotion. Whether they make you move or move you, these are songs that stay with you. Yeah, so obviously this is a long debated category.
I will not be putting an opening or an ending in here.
My winner was not an opening or an ending, but the rest of the songs were, because I didn't feel like thinking about it. So
Valid. I'll give you that.
All right, so my best anime song was from Love Live Superstars season 3. It was Bubble Rise, which proves that the less idols, the better the song usually when it comes to Love Live. So shout out to that. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. I chose the opening for that. Irodori. ReZero season 3, the ending. Nox Lux. The Shoshimin series, Sweet Memory. It's the opening. Another memory, Stardust Memory from Bartender Glass of God. That's the opening. And then Hibike season 3 opening. Ricotta.
Like I said, I'm abstaining from including openings, endings here, but I am a biased piece of shit, and I watched Girls Band Cry a couple days ago, and there's a lot of music from that I really liked. I mean, you guys have heard a couple songs. It's just my style of music. Is just this kind of like rock with the strong female voice lead, stuff like that. But the song in particular that has been on repeat on my Spotify since I finished is Voiceless Fish, which is the insert song from episode 4. So you guys have both actually heard this song.
Yeah.
This was the little concert where they're like, wear whatever you want, and she comes out in like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Okay.
cutesy outfit. That song.
Yeah. I remember this
Which
scene. I
is
don't remember.
maybe a little biased because I
Was
listened
that
to the full version of the song.
Was that the cutesy one, or was that the one where they wore like the things they were, like the negative things? So I thought the other one was like episode 2 or some shit. Maybe I'm crazy. Or
Yeah, I
episode
remember there's
3.
one in episode
This
2.
was I'll just link it to you guys real quick. You know, obviously don't have to
I
listen
can
to the
look it
song,
up
but
on
you'll
YouTube.
be able to see
Voiceless Fish.
you'll be able to
Okay.
see what part.
Yeah, it was episode 3.
This is episode 3, episode 4, something like that. I watched it all in a day. So one sitting actually. I did it in Discord, and so Lugia was with me for a little bit, and then he left. Water came by, Fresh came by, and watched the second half of the show because he does that. Um, I think if I did a lot more research into the songs for some of the things that I watched a while ago, there's a decent chance I could have found some other stuff to talk about, but there was nothing other than the song I have for best opening that stood out to me as much as this one did. So I felt like this was a pretty easy call, even though there is definitely some recency bias involved.
Yeah, I'm cringing. I put it in opening. But to be honest, I think
If it's just for the song, it's fine.
yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
feel like I wish that this was best insert in like that spirit.
yeah, I tried to go back to some of the shows I watched, but I didn't like think of any. I mean, I listened to some of the inserts, but like I just like nah, I just felt like I picked the which is like such a like boring pick. But to be honest, I didn't like a lot of the openings or endings. I picked the Freer and opening Haru. I guess it's like the second part opening, not the first one by
Yeah.
Yoasobi, which was like, obviously I guess ineligible. But yeah, I picked the opening, the second opening,
That's a good song.
Haru by. Yeah, I
Spoilers,
mean,
I'll be talking.
it's like not amazing, but it's fine.
Spoilers,
Yeah.
I'll be talking about that later.
I actually will too, because I have like a weird thing for opening. But anyway, yeah.
So, well, I can talk about it now actually.
Yeah.
I have not watched the second core of Freerun,
Mhm.
which means I have not watched the portion of the show that Haru is the opening for. However, as Daniel, who I think is in that chat, may remember, our Spotify Wraps for the year came out about 2 months ago. The number one song that I listened to in 2024 was Haru. I
Wow.
love Haru. I'm also a big Yorishika fan, so that's not a surprise per se, but I'm a huge fan of the Haru song. So when we get to best opening, I will of course be talking about Haru then. But since an opening, I didn't put it in here.
Yep. I mainly chose. I kind of like quickly went through all the insert songs for Superstar. Because I knew there were a couple in there that I liked, but I just need to remember where all of them were. But yeah, so Bubble Rise it's very early on in the season. I guess spoiler, the kind of one of the early plot for Superstar season 3 is Canon joins like Margaret, the rival from the previous season, joins or comes to their school, but starts her own club, and Canon, because she technically left the other clubs, like, I'm gonna be in this one, and then another character's in there as well. But this is their first song they all perform together, and it kind of like brought me back to season 1 a little bit, where it's just a much smaller group.
There wasn't 15 of them.
There wasn't 11 of them, which I'll fucking get to. I'll get to right now, actually, because I'm not gonna be able to talk about it probably at any other point. Fucking, I wish Margaret was a good. Actually, I almost. I might talk about it later. Yeah, I'll talk about it later because there's something. I'm gonna bring up for best ending. Yeah, we're talking about it later. I'm gonna bring up something for best ending. So in a few what's it called? But yeah, 11 characters is a lot. So yeah, having 3 of them singing made it just a much more compact, like, listenable song. It's not as busy, and you can, the theming's nice. It's just a good song. Anyway, now moving on to best score. Outstanding scores enhance the viewing experience through memorable and evocative compositions. They elevate the emotional depth, the dramatic tension, and overall impact of a piece of work. This category celebrates exceptional soundtracks that effectively complement the narrative and visuals of an anime series or film, creating a rich auditory landscape that resonates with viewers and contributes significantly to the film's artistic achievement. So my best score was Look Back, followed by actually I have the music, the people in charge of music here. Look Back, done by Haruka Nakamura. Apothecary Diaries, Satoru Kosaki. I think a couple other people were on that as well. Like, I know Kevin Pankin did some songs for Apothecary Diaries, but I just put the main music guy that they had listed. Freerin, Evan Call. Weakest Tamer, Kujira Yumimi. Too Many Losing Heroines, Kana Utatane, and Oshinoko Season 2, Takiro Iga.
I put yeah, I just kind of put what I just remembered off the top of my head. So I put Freer in because I felt like I remember.
That feels valid still.
Yeah, I don't know. Score is kind of hard because, like, when I'm watching, I'm not really thinking about the music unless it really stands out. So I don't know. I just put Freer in, but I don't know. Maybe Look Back. Maybe it was good. I just can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately. So
I thought it was like one of the most standout parts of that film, because I mean there were a lot of times where like there's no dialogue and it's just the music playing. Like,
yeah, that's fair. I think I don't know. I was just kind of focused on the story, so I just didn't think about it. But also partially it's because I wasn't considering movies, but if I'd given it more thought, I would have remembered that. But yeah, I would say Freerin was pretty good overall, so can't really complain about that.
What do you guys think I'm gonna say here?
I don't know.
Because you'd be wrong. It's not Girls Band Cry, which would be the general thing.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say
that
that,
you would
but
suspect.
Gigi Harem, bro.
Oh, I want it's not Gigi Harem. So, similar to you guys picking Look Back as your winner, best score. I don't generally consider movies for a lot of stuff, but best score is something that I think movies do really well and should be recognized. So I have the Haikyuu movie because Haikyuu's always had a really phenomenal score, really good soundtracks to it and everything, and the movie just did as movies should. It's one of the things that I think movies need to do really well is have a really good score and soundtrack to them. But I think the new Haikyuu movie really knocked it out of the park. Really used its score extremely well in like key moments of the story.
Fair.
Fair enough.
I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it, but maybe
Yeah,
one day.
I mean it's so many episodes and seasons into Haikyuu. It's really something that only people who have watched all of Haikyuu would watch. But there definitely is a degree of that because there are parts of the score that are just things from the previous scores of Haikyuu. But
Yeah.
it did a really good job. It had a good score.
All right. Moving on to best opening. Through striking visuals and irresistible music, a great opening sequence sets the tone for what's to come. Whether it's creating a quirky mood for an offbeat rom-com or striking a dark and serious tone for suspense, a memorable opening has as much creativity and passion as the show it introduces. So funny enough, I haven't watched the show. Well, I mean, I've watched a season and a half of the show I picked the best opening for. But Eurocamp season 3 was my winner. I have the show name and the opening song name. So Eurocamp season 3, Laid Back Journey. Hibike season 3, Ricotta. Shangri-La Frontier, Danger Danger, which is opening 2, since fucking Shangri-La Frontier is in a weird spot right now.
Yeah.
Shumatsu Train, which is Train to the End of the World. I put Shumatsu Train because it rolls off the tongue better. Gaton Gaton, Dungeon Meshi, its first opening with Sleepwalking Orchestra, and Dangers in My Heart season 2, Boku wa. ...
I've already spoiled this, but it's Haru from Freerun for me, which is
Yeah,
funny because
no.
we're kind of handshaking to having not watched the part of the show that we're picking for this, Daniel, because I haven't watched the part of Freerun with Haru. There's some other good openings that I thought of for this. I really like the Giji Harem opening. It's a funny pick, but I like the opening to "Tis Time for Torture Princess." It's more of like a funny pick, but I have to. Haru was my number one song on Spotify.
Love
I
that. That's good to hear.
have to put it here, and I like the visuals to it too. They don't
Yep.
mean anything to me because I haven't watched that section of the show, and I'm sure there's things that when I do finish it, I'll be like, "Oh, it meant that," or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe not, but it's good. Great
Yeah.
song, good visuals.
Yeah, it was my pick too. But I will say, if I'm including visuals, I got to include Blue Archive, right? You know.
I thought
I
about the
mean,
Blue Archive opening, but I'm
dude,
like, I
yeah,
don't. The song I don't like enough. The
yeah.
visuals are
I don't
incredible,
care for it.
but I
Yeah.
didn't care enough
So,
about the song
uh,
itself to put it as best
and then
opening.
yeah, and then my honorable mention was the Soul Leveling opening. I thought that one was pretty decent. I kind of liked it when I was watching it. So, but that was like,
You like the solo leveling opening? I thought the
yeah,
song's dog shit, dude.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's I don't know. I thought it was fine, but again, it's like a distant honorable mention for me because it's just like I don't know. I thought that Haru was just really good, and nothing really else really stood out to me. So, um, I don't know.
Yeah, I did not like. I mean, the visuals for solo leveling openings are
I
good.
I didn't like the Shimatsu Train opening.
You
I
didn't like the
no, I
Shumatsu
didn't.
train?
I didn't. I know.
All right.
All right, I
Yeah,
know.
Mr. Trash music taste over here.
Yeah. Hey, Haru was good. PK and I can at least
I
agree
mean, I
on that.
like Haru, but I just
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
I didn't put it on there.
I mean,
Haru's
to
great,
be
but
fair,
I'm
I
also
haven't listened to a
really
few of his.
biased
Yeah.
to Yorishika. I love Yorishika.
But yeah, anyway,
Yep.
I like your camps because I like the song and also the visuals are really good. Uh, I really like obviously I like the Hibike song because I have that in best anime song as well. But I don't know. I mean the visuals are really good. I just so happen to vibe more with the Eurocamp as an opening. Um, but you know if we only included things that I've watched, then Hibike would have won. So that's something. Uh, but yeah, there are a lot of good openings. I mean, there always are, but you know. Anyway, obviously, following best opening will be best ending. Similar to the opening, unforgettable ending sequence pairs design and music to delight and surprise, often a place where the art style can be taken in entirely new directions. A great ending sequence lets viewers catch their breath and enjoy small moments with the character. I chose as my best ending. Same thing as the opening. I will name show and song. Too Many Losing Heroines, Feel My Soul, which is ending 3. Really, any of the endings for Too Many Losing Heroines could have been on here, but this is the one that I fucked the most with. ReZero Season 3, Nox Lux, which was also up in Best Anime Song. I think it was my #1 song on Spotify this year. So, Blue Archive may not have made Best Opening, but it did make Best Ending. I fuck with the ending heavily. So Blue Archive, Mahiru no Sora Nosuki, 2.5D Seduction, the first ending, Watch Me, Oshinoko Season 2, Burning, and Dandadan, Taidada.
I hadn't the ReZero ending as my winner. Do you hate the solo leveling ending as well?
The ending's fine. I don't really remember the ending too much,
Yeah,
but
I actually kind of like that one, but no, the ReZero ending was my #1. That one was really good.
yeah, I really like the ending.
So yeah, that was my pick personally. But
I thought about the ReZero. I think it was so I had four endings I was kind of considering that I listened to again to think about this. So I had the ReZero ending, Nox Lux. Just talking about I had the Don ending. I had Girls Band Cry ending, which is called I'm Nobody. Thought about those. But I think my favorite ending, and this is probably more of a vibes pick than I usually do for openings or endings, but I really liked Teenage Blue from Blue Box by Eve. So that's going to be my pick.
remember that one, but you might be right.
It's
Yeah.
Eve. Eve's pretty solid. I mean, like I said, that's probably more of a vibes pick than what I normally do, but I really liked the song. I had good ending visuals. I mean, part of ending, so opening visuals, I feel like I love when they like tell some sort of story, but a lot of ending visuals are just kind of chill
Vibes.
and vibes. So
Credits.
I don't feel as bad having an ending where I'm just like, this is just vibes.
Yeah, I mean that's partially why Feel My Soul won for me. Like the art throughout the ending is all watercolor, and it just
Hmm.
fucking slaps. So kind of the
That's
same
why
vibe as like last year with the sand art ending for Doctor Stone. I just fuck with artistic endings.
I love the Nijigasaki endings. For that reason that you said. Those have been it's been years since we've had those, but the Nijigasaki endings are all super cute and they're like watercolory or like artistic in that way.
Yeah,
I did
fucking
like the visuals to the Girls Band Cry ending.
when I think of Nijigasaki endings, I think of like the Nijion animation ending. It's just fucking utter chaos from like start to finish in 30 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a lot of good endings too. But oh yeah. This is what I wanted. Okay, so for a second, I almost forgot to. A lot of the times when I was making my list, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's got to go on the list," and then I'd like forget to put it on the list because I think my brain was like, "We already put it on there. Doesn't matter." So like, Feel My Soul and Nox Lux were like the first things I thought of, but I typed in Feel My Soul and I started thinking of other things, and I forgot to put on Nox Lux. And so the Love Live Superstar season 3 ending made it onto this list temporarily until I realized my mistake.
Until you realized, yeah.
Yeah, so it's an honorable mention. But one of the things I noticed in that opening was that it almost makes Margaret look like a likable character. And I thought that was really interesting that the ending was able to achieve what the anime could not in 12 episodes. Which is one of the
Oh, that's
downsides of
funny.
having 11 main characters, is that when you desperately need to develop one of them into something that people care about, I mean, obviously I'm in the minority because most Love Live fans probably fuck with her, but I think she sucks, so that's where I stand with that.
Speaking of having way too many of things, I feel like there was an Alia ending that I really liked,
I mean, there are 12 of
but
them, so I mean, good luck with that.
yeah, I don't know which one it was. Nor was it going to beat out I don't think any of the 4 that I said. I mean, maybe, but I feel like there was one that I really liked, and then I think what happened is there was one I really liked, and then I got to the next episode, finished it, and then the next ending came up, and I was like, "This isn't the song," and I didn't really like clock what song or what episode it was from. But
Yeah, the problem with like the LEDs is like they're all covers for one, I believe, which is not a problematic thing on its own. But the
it's like worth
visuals,
knowing.
the visuals are very simple, obviously, because they have 12 fucking endings. They're not gonna make like crazy visuals for all of them, like a Chainsaw Man ending or some shit. And so I think they end up more forgettable, just because unless you like really fuck with one of the covers and immediately like download it or something. But I think they're more forgettable simply because they don't have anything like attached to it. And obviously you get it once, so
I should
yeah.
also probably honorable mention the Gigi Harem ending. It was really good. It just didn't. It didn't stand out to me the same as the 4 that I talked about.
All right, moving on to best voice artist performance for Japan. Renowned voice artists breathe additional life into a character, adding depth and realism through their command of tone and the emotions their voices elicit. These talented artists help transform anime characters into anime icons. So last year, I broke free of the category and I chose who I thought was the best voice overall for like the year through multiple characters. This year, I got lazy and I conformed to the
It was a lot
category.
of work last year.
Yeah,
Bro,
I conformed to the category, and I decided that I would go based on one character. And so my best performance, I will give their real name first, then the character, and then the show. So Taito Ban, who played Sung Jin-woo in Solo Leveling, Aoyuki, who does Mao Mao in Apothecary Diaries, Takeo Otsuka, who does Aqua in Oshinoko Season 2, I mean, and Season 1, but you know, whatever. Hikaru Tsuno, who does Anna Yanami in Too Many Losing Heroines, Miyu Tomita, who does Kiwi Watase and Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, and Wakana Maruoka, who does Yuki Suo in Alia.
This year we had the Sayori Hayaman show, which is of course Gigi Harem, once again being mentioned. The Rin's character in Gigi Harem is, and we've probably talked about this before. The whole gimmick in Gigi Harem is that the main female character Rin acts out different personas, and so Gigi meets Pseudo in which you've probably called it Pseudo Harem at certain times, but it's she basically simulates her and the main character's relationship as being him and his harem of many girls, but all the many girls are just her acting out different personas. And so me and Mars constantly joked calling this the Sire Hayamin show because it's just Hayamin showing off and doing a bunch of different characters. It kind of just feels like having fun. So I feel like I'm gonna respect the Hayamin show and nominate her here.
That's a solid choice. It's not like
yeah,
an easy thing to be like 20 million different characters in one show.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm cringe and boring, and I picked Ria Takahashi for Amelia because I'm like, bro, I can pick anything. I don't know.
I mean,
I
we
thought
all
about
like
some that
Rie
stood out, but I was
Takahashi.
like, I thought about
It is
some that was,
never a wrong choice to pick Rie Takahashi.
I know, but I wanted to be creative. I was like thinking about it, but I'm like, man, I should just pick the one that I like the best overall, right? So
It's like a hard one to remember too, right?
yeah,
Because
it's
a lot
like,
of these shows we've had extensive breaks for them
yeah.
or
There's
haven't
also
watched
like,
recently.
if someone's a good voice actor, it's like, it's hard to explain, but if it's like someone's a good voice actor, there's like a threshold, and then like above that, it's like, if you're good, I won't like notice that you're bad. You know what I mean? Like it's like you have to stand out to be like,
It's also, yeah, you
okay,
notice like really bad and really good because we're not native
yeah,
speakers.
yeah.
So it's, which is like a big part there,
It's a
because if it's
hard,
just like
yeah,
a really solid performance, it might just go totally over our heads.
Exactly. So, nah. Uh, if it's not a bad pick, then I'm satisfied with it. But it's just wish I could have picked something a little more creative. Yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
So
Yeah,
turn back to the top, right?
yeah. Um, but real quick, I guess one of the big reasons I chose Sungin was voice actor. I think like literally he went so hard on some of like he was like coughing up blood like or some shit when he was doing certain scenes because he was going so hard. So
That's
rewarding
crazy.
the dedication there. Um, it's really funny because like in some show like he's the main character in Angel Next Door, who's like extremely like chill and relaxed in that, and then like you go to like Soul Level and he's like screaming his fucking lungs out. It's a very funny voice actor like dichotomy there. But yeah, we'll not right to the very top. We'll go to the bottom of the
Best
top. So
original?
best original, yeah. Best original was a tough one for me because I finished half of the two of the four that I put here. And then any of the others that I finished, I thought were Dookie Dogwater and didn't deserve to be on here. So I only put four for best original anime. But my winner was Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, followed by Shumatsu Train, Girls Band Cry, and Negative Positive Angler, which I didn't really like. Negative Positive Angler that much. I mean, if you go to one of the previous episodes, I ranted about how it progressed, but it was enough to make the list, I guess. But yeah, I didn't feel like putting. Let me look at the other originals I finished. Um, I know Metallic Rouge was on there. I thought Metallic Rouge sucked wiener. It was bad, like really bad. And then is Pon no Michi? I think Pon no Michi's original.
I think it was, right?
No, it's a manga.
Was it not? Fair enough.
Yeah. Fuck, what was the other? There's another original in here somewhere that I fucking hated.
While you're searching for that, the only original I saw was Girls Band Cry. I have Jellyfish Can't Swim on the list, but I wasn't able to finish it in time, and I haven't started it at all. I watched a couple episodes of Shumatsu Train. I still would be picking Girls Band Cry over Shumatsu Train if I made it eligible, but I didn't watch enough for me to be like, I'm gonna include that. So Girls Band Cry, by default, my best original anime. Probably a decent chance it would have won it if I did watch more stuff, though. I could see just from things I've heard, Jellyfish maybe being a contender for me, but none of
Oh
the
wait,
other original anime I can think of are really at that
need to make a
level.
correction. The Pondomichi was an original. I got confused for a
And it
second because I
now
looked.
has,
It
I
has a
see.
manga adaptation. That's where I got confused for a second. But yeah, Pondomichi sucks. I only watched one episode, but I didn't like it. But I'll finish it eventually. And then the other one I haven't finished is Nanare Hananare, the cheerleader one.
Yes, I thought about that as well, but
I think
I've
by the
also
time I
only
get to the
watched
end of
two
it,
or three
I'm gonna be
episodes.
like, this was okay at best, and then I'm not gonna. It might have like made the list, maybe, but it would not have won. I don't think.
I picked Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night is like kind of an obvious winner, but I guess Shumatsu Train is a close second. Maybe not so close. I don't know. Yeah, I think both of those are really good though. I don't, yeah, no complaints. If I'd completed Girls Band Cry, I'm sure that would have been a nice honorable mention as well. But yeah,
I really want, after like the completing Girls Band Cry and seeing some of the discussions, I really want to watch Jellyfish now. Which I always kind of did. Like it's been on my list. We've talked about it a lot. Um, but also hearing all the discussions and not necessarily comparisons I've heard, but just kind of like people talking about those two in kind of like the same sentences and ideas. I'm like, this is probably something I'd vibe with too.
yeah, I liked it. So
Yeah, I think.
interesting show.
I mean, I liked it. I think one of my issues with it was I think it kind of failed a little towards the end with some of the character writing, but that is not a discussion for now because we are moving on to best continuing series.
We're doing continuing next. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just oh wait, hold on. Is it? No, it's best.
There's new series,
Okay, hold on. How the
but
fuck did I switch these up? I'm so confused. Okay, no.
I don't know.
Is best new series not a category? I don't think it is.
Is it not?
I guess not. Wait,
Oh, fair enough.
I'm looking at the. No, it is. They just don't
No,
You
have
it
it.
have
is.
some.
I
I
have
was
it on
gonna say
mine
you
too.
have some here.
It's on the category list, but it's not in the. So there's explanations for the. There's a list and there's explanations. It's not on the explanations list, but it's on like the category list. So we're doing new series and then we'll
Yeah.
go to continuing. Okay. I skipped over it for a second because I scrolled up on the explanations one instead of just looking at my fucking list for whatever reason. Anyway, best new series. I had Apothecary Diaries, Freerin, Dungeon Meshi, Too Many Losing Heroines, Sign of Affection, and Shangri-La Frontier.
I guess Shangri-La Frontier does count. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's a season 1 in there, so yeah.
If that's the case, I'm also picking Shangri-La Frontier because I kind of was looking at this. Obviously, Blue Box comes to mind, but season 1 of Blue Box is just solid. I enjoy it a lot because I love the series, but I don't think the season 1 content of Blue Box is like super groundbreaking. Dandadan I liked, but it didn't capture me as much as did a lot of people. I was originally gonna say Kaiju number 8, which is I really liked the first season of that. Obviously, I'm caught up on the manga now, but if I can count Shangri-La Frontier, which I guess counts here, I'm down to do that. Probably Shangri-La Frontier, which is also something I'm now caught up on the manga and have read a portion of the web novel.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, I just had Freerin. I didn't
Yeah,
want to. I didn't want to
fair.
like overlap with other ones, but yeah, I just picked Freerin. I mean, I guess Sign of Affection would count. I don't know. I didn't think of it at the time because Freerin kind of stood out for me as like being, I guess, way above the rest. But yeah, I really like Freerin. Thought it was awesome. I don't know. Nothing else to say.
Freeman's up there for me too, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that in my head, I put a lot of bias towards things that made me read them.
Mm.
Because I, not that like I watched it for you and never felt the urge to read anything, but I definitely think if like the best sign to me of a really good series for me and my personality is if it's so good that I can't wait for the next week of episodes, and so I just go read the whole
Yeah.
thing in a night.
Mm. Yeah. That makes sense. Just don't want to wait. Just read the entire thing. I don't think I've ever experienced that. I think it's just more like I don't want to wait and then just end up waiting. But that's fair.
Yeah.
I do. I've totally gotten over that where it's like I hit a point where I need to
Can't take it anymore.
I need more story.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to. I fucking wrote best in on my list, but anyway, best
I
continuing.
didn't see that. I was thinking about commenting on it.
Best continuing series. I had Hibike Season 3, ReZero Season 3, Oshinoko Season 2, Dangers of My Heart Season 2, Tomozaki-kun Season 2, and Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2.
Yeah.
I had
would-
a I guess a tie slash I didn't really know which one to pick between the only two really continuing series that I had that I also watched were ReZero Season 3 and Denmachi Season 5. And they're like kind of tied for this. But then I did also just make a comment about how I show a little bias towards things that I felt the need to read, and I did feel the need to read Danmachi. Part of it being I watch ReZero in a group, so I'm never gonna read that for sake of upholding the group watch. Also, probably a harder thing to find to read. Although I say that, and
I
I know
mean,
that
it's
Daniel
easy
could
to
link me.
it's easy to find. It's just harder to get into. Like Don Machi obviously
Yes.
has cut content, but the problem with ReZero is you are dedicating yourself to a full-time job, basically trying to read that shit. So it's like,
Yes. I'm never catching up. Well, I mean, I could, but I'm probably never catching up to ReZero. Whereas it's like Danmachi, it's like, oh, I could just go spend like a couple weeks and finish the novels that are this season's content and be satisfied, right?
yeah.
Um,
ReZero web novel right now, kind of fire. I can't lie. It's going crazy, but that's all I'll say.
you said that, and I wanted to be like, is that related to the spoiler? I know, but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't.
It's technically related to that, but it got so much crazier. Like
That's
I
valid.
have no words for
There's
everything that's
no
happening
way.
right now.
Yeah. I have really liked ReZero season 3, of course. I'm probably giving Danmachi season 5 the edge only because I went and read the novel. It only feels right. But to me, they're kind of 1A, 1B.
Um, yeah, for me, I mean, God, this is cheating. Nah, I'm not gonna put my cheating because
No,
like
how are you
continuing.
cheating?
No, I was gonna say Freerin because it's like continuing from the previous like Crunchyroll like freaking era or what like
Yeah,
the
no.
previous.
It's
But
not.
that's cheating. That's cheating. That's 100%
That's
cheating.
also not the point of the category.
Yeah, exactly, right? No, so I just picked ReZero as my number one. I think that's like fair. I I don't know how I didn't end up finishing Oshinoko because I was like 5 episodes in. I think I got to a really good part, and then like I just like stopped watching for some reason. I don't know. There's like so many shows that I'm like halfway through. I'm like becoming PK, bro. It's like it's crazy.
You got work to do.
slow dissolve.
I started this week I started watching Summertime Render. I'm catching up to that. So that was my number one priority from last week, and I'm continuing that. So that's
Now that we're done with this episode, I can stop hard focusing on 2024 anime and
catching up with other
probably will. I mean, Freeren's probably the next big thing on the list.
yeah.
It's just Freeren, I feel like I need to be like in a specific mood for. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay. We'll see.
All right, so that's never getting finished. Anyway, moving on to film of the year. So
Obvious.
I only watched Look Back, so congratulations, Look Back, your film of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if I just picked Look Back anyway, but yeah, that's my film of the
You
year.
probably would. Haikyuu movie is one thing I watched. What do we classify Knapsack Girl as?
That's a movie.
No, I know, but it was this year, right?
Yes.
So I know Venturing Sister was weird, but you and I watched Venturing Sister in 2023. So I'm definitely not counting that. Knapsack Girl, I feel like counts and makes sense
Well,
for this.
I mean, Knapsack was technically 2023, but like we didn't get the opportunity to
we
watch it
didn't
until
realistically
2024.
get it.
It also released
Yeah.
December 1st of 2023, so fucking close enough. You know what? It was still
Good
probably
enough.
in theaters in 2024. So
Good enough. I'd probably for this specifically, I really liked the Haikyuu movie, obviously. So it's hard. It's either the Haikyuu movie or Knapsack Girl, the two movies I watched. I don't necessarily know which one I'd choose. My bias says to pick Haikyuu because sports. It was hype. Knapsack Girl was content that I had not read before, so it was entirely new. So I think it hit differently because of that. Whereas in Haikyuu, I was expecting everything and I knew everything that was going to happen.
yeah.
So very different experiences. I have to at least mention Knapsack Girl though, because I did like it a lot. But realistically, I'm probably obligated to pick Haikyuu.
I am picking Look Back, obviously, but no, this one was weird because like I'd actually watched a few movies this year, but they were all not from 2024.
We're not from
Yeah.
2024. Yeah.
It's like watching multiple anime movies from a single year is like it's kind of hard. I don't know.
I mean, it's like
wait for
almost
the-
impossible for
yeah,
like.
right.
I mean, I would have watched Trapezium if it would have been in my area, but it wasn't. So I have to
Right.
wait until that comes to streaming, probably. So
But yeah, Look
Wait for
Back.
the revised Gochuucast awards where if we just count everything that we finished in the calendar year.
Honestly, if I'd watched other movies, I'm sure like look back would have still been number one, bro. That movie is nice. But yeah.
All right. And last but certainly not least, obviously, we have the prestigious anime of the year. I spilled my anime of the year, I think, last week, but and also probably not too much of a secret based on the fact that I mentioned it so much throughout. What's it called? This
The
episode
awards.
here, the awards. Yeah. I mean, really, I mean, based on best continuing and best new, it just comes down between Hibike and Apothecary, and Hibike season 3 was my anime of the year. Followed by Apothecary Diaries, Freerun, Dungeon Meshi, Oshinoko season 2, and Too Many Losing Heroines.
I'm the type of person that looks at your list and is like 4 new series, 2 continuing. I doesn't really make a difference. I just made that connection for fun. This one's hard for me because I didn't watch that much stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, we know.
And I really don't.
You hypothetical. What would have been the best had you finished it?
So Denmachi isn't done. ReZero isn't done. So it's weird to say either of those. Blue Box isn't done. Shangri-La isn't even done.
Technically, season one is done. You couldn't.
Technically, season 1 of Shangri-La is done. Gigi Harem is not my anime of the year. But I love it. It might have been my favorite thing I watched this year. Girls Band Cry was good. I don't know that I want that to be my anime of the year, but it was great. So I'm doing the unconventional, and I might just say Freerun off vibes and feelings.
Very brave pick.
I'm going to say my anime of the year is something that I am halfway through, and the part I've watched is not even technically in this year.
Okay.
But it's
I mean, you technically have watched it, yeah.
what can you do? There's nothing else that I feel like comfortable / I want to put as anime of the year.
Sure. Fair enough.
So
It'd be
it's
my
kind of
pick.
conflicting because it's like, yeah. I mean, Girls Band Cry, of the things that I have completely finished and done and are done, because Danmachi season 5 feels weird to put in this one. I've said it for other stuff. It's been very good, but it feels weird to put it when there's still a couple big episodes to go, right?
Mhm.
ReZero's not even halfway through this stuff. So it's like those two I just
Halfway
don't
through
feel
the
right.
arc, not
Like,
through
yeah.
the season as we know it based on
Yeah.
leaks.
So those two just feel weird to me to put. If I had to put something from something I finished, it's probably Girls Band Cry. It was very good. I don't necessarily think it's not deserving. It just also, I don't know. Last year I had my go, if I remember right, so it would be kind of funny. I think by the time I finish Freerun, I'll be happy with having put it here. Except I have Hibike season 3 and Apothecary Diaries both very high on the list of things I need to do next. So who knows? Maybe I'll revisit this after I finish those 3 things and be like, yeah, those were the ones, but or have a different order. But as of now, I'm conflicted, and I'm probably just gonna have to do the unconventional silly pick and say Freeman's anime of the year, despite the fact that I am not caught up, not even close to caught up with it.
I don't know if I call it an unconventional silly pick. I mean, great, you haven't finished it. That's
Well,
like the main
it's
thing, but
yeah, it's unconventional silly because of the circumstances, not because of the pick.
Yeah.
yes, the pick is very conventional, very not silly, very expected even.
Circumstances are a little bit interesting. Um, yeah, my number one is Freerun, but close. I mean, I don't want to say close. Close number two is ReZero, and then I would say like not so close third was Sign of Affection. I think that was like actually it was that or I don't know. I think so. I like Sign of Affection. I thought it was like pretty different from most of the other shows I saw this year. So those are like my top three. But yeah, number one boring pick Freerin. But Freerin's good. So I need PK to watch it. So.
I watched the first
I know. Okay,
5
let me
minutes
rephrase.
of
I need you
episode
to finish it.
17. No. I was gonna say I watched the first 5 minutes of episode 17 yesterday, and then got mega distracted. I don't
Fair.
remember what even happened, but it's like I need to when I watch a show like Freerun, I need to just mute my Discord so you don't get notifications.
Get locked in, bro.
Because
Locked
I
in.
don't remember what notification I got, but I was gone. I just disappeared for like the next
Gotta-
5 hours after that.
whip on streamer mode.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There you go. Freerin best show.
I mean, we want to go by majority, I guess. If you know.
I expected
the problem here being, who knows if I catch up to Hibike, maybe majority changes.
Who knows?
After I watch all three things, if we'll talk in that next episode about my opinions on the Hibike Freerun Apothecary Diaries discretions. Apothecary Diaries is an entirely different beast in comparison to those
Yeah,
two.
I'll
though.
see you all in a year when Apothecary Diaries Season 2 is anime of the year. I mean, we'll see. I don't know everything that's supposed to come out this year, and maybe I'll have a surprise in there somewhere. But
I haven't looked at the full year. I wonder if I mean Fire Force, obviously, big Fire Force year. Sakamoto Days, obviously, right now. Yep, there's Apothecary Diaries.
it'll be interesting to see first Sakamoto Days episode because people are bitching about the opening not being as like swanky as they want it to be or whatever the fuck, and now people are like dooming about it. Just Twitter things. I watched the opening and I'm like, I mean, it's not like crazy or anything, but it's I guess it's fine. And people are like, oh my god, I can't. You know what? The bitches need a bad adaptation in their life. I'm ready for them to have a bad adaptation of something.
How's Medalist been?
Well, I mean, we've had the sanctioned Engi episode 1, so I'll let you know next week. I'll have watched episode 2 by then. I will say the gun is not the Minecraft gun is not to the head right now, so it was fine. Well,
anyway,
I can discuss more in depth later.
As I'm searching, kind of incomplete. Not too bad, I don't think. But which hat's in 2025?
That's true.
I don't necessarily know that'll compete. Yeah,
I'm sure there's gonna be some
for me.
That'll maybe.
For me, I should get Fate Strange Fake at some point this year.
You got
Obviously, Fire Force. Yep, we did get one episode.
I don't know why they did that, but
who knows? It's like it's weird to me because it's keeping the hype up, but also
if I had to
most
guess,
of the people that are going to watch Fate Strange Fake are Fate fans.
That production is probably in flames right now, knowing Aniplex and A1 and the quality they're trying to uphold with Strange Fake. So
that is probably valid. Yeah, there's some fun stuff here. There's movies, obviously. Movies out the ass. Not that any of us care about Infinity Castle movie. But there's the Chainsaw Man movie, there's Madoka movie.
yeah,
just to name two real
maybe
quick.
We'll talk about them, or maybe we won't because we don't get movies for 10 years. But I mean, granted, fucking Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, and Madoka are all like big enough series that we might get those earlier.
There's a good chance we'll get all three of
I think
those.
we'll at least get
by the end of the year.
Chainsaw Man within this year in the US.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know when Infinity Castle is supposed to release, and I think Madoka might be like towards the end of the year, and so we might not get that until 2026.
The thing about Infinity Castle is 3 movies, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a trilogy. Yeah.
So I assume September 12th in Japan, September 17th worldwide.
Okay.
So
Well,
for sure the first movie of Infinity Castle.
Chainsaw Man. I don't know
Chainsaw
if we
Man
don't have like
doesn't
an actual
say.
release date for it. We just know it's 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if it's towards the end.
Madoka Winter 2025. So probably not Madoka.
I mean, it is winter 2025, but we don't have a release date, which means it's gonna be like the next.
Oh,
It's gonna be
I
like
understand.
December, winter, probably. I guess.
The post I saw made it sound like it wasn't core date. Just made it sound like winter 2025, as in the winter of 2025. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's probably
You're
gonna be like
correct.
December-ish, if I had to guess. Maybe we'll get a real date for Anime Japan or something. Anyway, we can talk about future anime in the future because this is the end of this episode right now. If you enjoyed this episode and you agree with all my picks and none of theirs, you should leave a like, 5 stars. If you agree with their picks and not mine, you should still leave 5 stars and a like because, yeah. If you agree with none of our picks, then you're wrong.
5 stars anyway.
Yeah, you're wrong, but still leave a like and rate 5 stars. If you are on the audio only side of the thing and you like go to the YouTube, then Is the Order an Anime Podcast? We are the only one. Same thing from YouTube to audio only. Is the Order and Anime Podcast? Can't possibly miss us. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. EST without fail, except for when we do, there will be a new episode out for you to enjoy. So once again, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in another episode. Thank you, and goodbye.